Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Wendy Yi.
I'm Chris Yi.
Today we're taking a look at a fairly smallish looking game called Wormholes. It's not a big box game, although it could be one, I suppose.
I mean, it could be. I don't know. It feels almost like a distillation of a bigger kind of a thing into a smaller little package. I don't know.
When I first heard this, I was wondering if it was like an off-branded Dune kind of thing, like the worms in the sand, and
Yes.
I didn't know anything about it. It has nothing to do with us.
It does
Clearly.
not. I want to be really clear on that.
All about space.
It's a pickup and delivery game. You are picking up passengers, delivering them, and moving around a space map. But the twist in this one is that you can use wormholes that you create and that other players create. That's pretty much the gist of it. Well, here's some more. This is a map that you can put out, and most of the maps there's certain boards that are going to be used for 2 or 3 players, or ones you only use with 4 or more players, and these can be flipped over and rotated. The map doesn't even have to be in this exact configuration. In the rule book, they show you different ways you can set it up, but you're going to always be starting here in this space station, and each player has a stack of 5 wormholes. Players are attempting to deliver passengers, and there's a whole deck of passenger cards. They're going to show you what planet they're going to. So these are going to this planet, and this one's going to this planet. Hey, this is a great starting hand for me. On your turn, a player has 3 energy that they can spend, and this is mostly done to move around. So if I'm here, I might go 1, 2, 3, but at any point on your turn, and in fact you have to do it on your first turn, you're going to put a wormhole out. So that you'll match a wormhole. This is the yellow player. They would put a wormhole here that matches that. That wormhole is not active yet. But on your turn, I could, for example, drop another wormhole. It's next to this planet. And now both these wormholes are active. Now, wormholes being active are kind of handy because when I move in the future, I might go 1. It's a free action to move from wormhole to wormhole. 2, 3. So the more wormholes that are around the board, the faster you can move. And since you have 5 sets, you can kind of put wormholes. You have to actually get to the other spot where the wormhole is first, but then it's easy to jump around. Not only that, you can use other players' wormholes. So let's say the blue player goes here. I might be here, and for 3 movement, I would go 1, vroom, 2, vroom, 3. However, anytime you use someone else's wormhole, you give them a point, which is one of the main ways to get points in this game. If you end up next to a planet and you have cards that match that planet, you drop them off, which you put them face down in front of you, where they'll be worth 2 victory points at the end of the game. You can also pick up passengers once per turn when you're next to the space station or next to any planet on the board. And by the way, I should mention there are so few weird things on the board. Here's a wormhole 4 that goes to anything. And these asteroids, you can't move through them. You obviously can't move through the sun. And there are just various things that will, a nebula, you can move into it, but then it's free to move out. And you can move out from any other directions. There's an orbit that you can move around here, so on and so forth. But you can pick up passengers, and you just need to be next to a planet. So when that happens, you'll draw until you have 4 cards in your hand. So let's say I already have this card in my hand. I would draw 3 more. Here I am next to this blue planet. I would have dropped this off. But when you draw cards, if you draw only cards that match the planet you're next to, you discard them and draw again, because you can't pick up and drop off at the same planet like that. When you draw at the space station, there will be face-up ones. So as people discard cards that they're not going to keep from their hand, they're going to be face up next to the board, and you can pick up those if you go back to the space station, giving you a better chance of knowing what you want to get. Now, whenever a player puts a wormhole next to a new planet, the first time any planet has one next to it, so in case this planet here, you'll take this top exploration token from a stack here. These are worth points at the end of the game for the first 5, and 6 is a point, but 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all worth 3 victory points. When that happens, the game has only 3 rounds left, using these tokens to keep track of that. And then at the end of those 3 rounds, people are just going to get points. So you get points for the exploration tokens that you've won if you're the first person next to a planet, the tokens that you've gotten from people using your wormholes, and then 2 points for each passenger. And then there's a special bonus. Each planet that you discovered beyond 5, and remember there's 10 planets, so each planet you discover beyond 5 gives you 3. So that you've delivered to. So you'll look at all your cards, and if you had all 10 planets, you would get an extra 15 points, since it's 3 for each one. And that's it. Whoever has the most points is the winner. I do want to talk real quickly. These wormhole tokens are wood chips, and they're really nice components in there. The spaceships are pretty boring little ships here, and the art's fine. It looks good. There's different sides. There's also a little reference card that tells you how the different things work, how a black hole works, how a photon cannon works, and so on. And then you also don't use this entire deck in a game with less than 4 players, and there's some cards that show you that. Anyway, that's how you play. So I want to start out by saying something I really liked in the game, which was the actual main mechanism.
The wormholes?
The wormholes. I think it's such an interesting idea, because what do? Do you quick move out to a really close planet, drop your first wormhole? Or do you go out to one that's slightly farther, which gives you an advantage later on? And then whose wormholes do you use? I find that to be interesting, and you can set things up and just jump all over the map.
That's interesting, because I feel like the ones close by are almost more advantageous. Like if you do a little one close, then you will always have that connection, and then if you just expand from that one out, then you get more.
Yes, but if you go out farther, let's say you push to a second planet.
Okay.
Yeah, you can then, and hopefully you have passengers to deliver there. I'd like to come back to that point.
Yes.
You can then maybe jump back to the home base, jump back to that second one, and then start going out and getting to planets that people aren't at.
Sure, you can get
which gives you an uninterrupted thing. And then if you do want to go to those other planets, I can be like, I'll use yours. I'll deliver that. If you go to planets no one else goes to, they're tempted to use your wormholes.
Yeah.
At least for the first time that they go there. Yeah.
And I think thematically that's really neat that's kind of the exploration. You get the bonus exploration point for being the first one to get a wormhole out there, but also you've paved the way. You've made the path available, and other people might use it once and then set their own wormhole out there, but they might just keep using it because they want to set their wormholes other places so that they kind of reap the benefits of that income. I like that thematically a lot.
I like the positive interaction, too, of the idea of I use your stuff. It's not like it costs me anything.
Yeah, you're not paying the victory
I'm not
point.
paying anything. It's just coming from like a general supply, but you get benefits for that, and I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
The other thing that I really like about this is what's going on the board. It's not just planets, but there's planets. There's stuff in the way, so you have to work around things, which can be a pro and a con depending on where they are. But I really like the nebula system, where you can, there's certain tiles that when you exit them, you can exit for free, so you don't have to spend a movement point. And if you have a string of those in a row, you're basically like surfing down for free down an aisle, and I think that's super cool. The
Silver Surfer just slip and sliding through the galaxy.
Exactly.
I like that.
The black hole mechanism. Have you played much with the black hole?
Yes, in fact,
I thought that was super fun.
it's fun. It's only on one side of the tiles, by the way.
It is.
I set the whole game up for the first time, and I'm reading through it, I'm like, well, there's no black holes. But come on now. And so I flipped everything over. There's definitely an interesting side and a not interesting side.
Yes.
And
Yep.
while I get that they were trying to make the game basic and easy, seriously, it's way more interesting with this other stuff. And I wish they had a Wormhole 3 on this side and a Wormhole 4 on this side. I just would have found that.
Okay.
I understand why they did it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because except I think one of these sides is marked. Yeah, like one's harder and one's easier, I guess. But
Yeah. If you've played pick up and deliver games, if you get the idea, you can just start on the advanced side. I didn't find the basic side that
basic?
interesting. Yeah.
The most interesting part about the basic side was that, I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically shoots you in one direction and you can go as far as you want, ignoring obstacles.
No. That's still on the advanced sides. I'm saying.
Oh, I thought that was the
No,
opposite
that's on
of
the
the black
back of the black hole.
You either get one or you get the other.
Yeah, you either get that.
Oh. Yeah, I want both.
Yeah,
I know, that one's pretty fun.
Because they're both cool.
But the black hole's more chaos and more fun. Yeah, I could see if this game does well, an expansion pack coming out of just kind of customizable.
Just more tiles.
Yeah, just little hexes that you put out. You just kind of make the map more. You know what I mean? Because
Interesting.
yeah, that's one of the things. Is the map is not bad, and you rearrange it and stuff, sure, but it's really about where like the bonus wormholes are and where the black hole is. I think that kind of makes the biggest map variety from game to game.
I want to be clear, if an expansion pack for this comes out, I will not be getting it. Because I have a lot of problems with the game. I said all the things I like. But I think the game comes to a halt too quickly if any one player so decides. And if everyone plays, especially in a 4-player game or higher, everyone's just going like this, and you can hit all those planets really fast. And then there's 3 turns and the game's over. And that feels a little unsatisfying. That's my least problem. That's a good problem to have in the sense like, oh, I wanted to play the game longer.
Sure.
But my bigger problem is, in every game of this I played, every winner has won pretty much because of luck.
Yes.
I cannot stand that. That deck, if you draw, hey, look, I got 2 of the same planet that my wormhole's already connected to, haha, that's 4 points. And also that exploration, why are the last 4 planets worth 3? That leads to a stupid situation where I'm like, I would like to explore this planet, but it's the 6th one. I'll let you explore the 6th one because 3 points is way better than 1.
Yeah.
Except then in a 3-player game, you get the 3, you get the 3, and then I don't have any more planets to explore.
There's only 2 3-point ones.
Yeah.
I don't know. That part I don't love. It doesn't bother me that much, but the card draw is the biggest issue that I have. There is in game design like this kind of that continuum. Do you just make something really streamlined and simple, which this is?
Yes.
Or do you make it kind of more robust? And this is really shifted over to one side. Draw cards. You can deliver multiple cards, and they're all worth 2 points. Cool. Having 3 of the same card is 3 times as good as having a hand with 4 different planets in it. It makes it a bit unsatisfying when you watch another person just drop 3, and then, now that they've ditched 3 out of their hand, they can take the draw card action, or the draw card bonus, and they're drawing 3 cards. They're replacing up to 4. So not only is it more points, but you're also you're sifting through cards quicker if you get doubles. There's no
So
downside
you're more likely to get more.
And it's really annoying when they do that and then they draw them and it's the other side of the wormhole. Every game of this I've played has been a blowout. And you know what? Most people still said they enjoyed the game.
I did enjoy
I think it's because the basic mechanics are fun. The idea of
I
dropping
agree.
wormholes, running around the place, flying around, hopping everywhere. Like I think that's generally fun. But yeah, I have issues with the cards and the randomness of that. But also that feeling of like I have to pick one planet to go, or I have to draw only one time in a turn. That's frustrating to me because they're, like you said, you can't sift through those cards. You can't.
You're
get
right,
through
because if you
things.
only deliver 1, you can draw a card.
Or I could ditch my whole hand, draw 3 more cards, but then what if I draw a card that matched one of the ones in my hand? What if I discarded wrong to draw? And what I thought about it, because the space station, as you discard cards, you're laying them out and you're leaving them out for other people to get from the space station, but that costs your draw. So if you're going to go to the space station to get 1 card that matches what's in your hand, that takes your entire draw for the whole round. I almost wonder if that should be free or if that should be some sort of different action itself, or there's something about that I think that could have changed so that you could use those cards that are out a little bit cleaner.
That's the problem with this continuum of some games are really well streamlined but have still enough of that robust kind of scoring. Maybe the math is a little different, but sometimes that means adding in persnickety rules. There are almost no persnickety rules in this entire game.
I agree, but I don't know if I like that trade-off. Because, yes, if it was a fixed board, and then there was 2 decks of cards, and this deck only has planets on the other side, and this one has planets on that side, that would fix the problem.
Well, I thought about it, except for the fact wormholes. Everything could be one free action away from each other.
But it would
super
still
close.
be, well, sure, but I mean, it might be a little bit easier, or, I don't know. I can't think of a good solution for it. So, for me, I'm giving the game a 6, which I think is higher than I would want it to be. Like, my things are bringing it down much lower than that, but because I enjoy the gameplay so much, I'm still putting it as a 6. Because even though I think, this game is flawed, and it's lucky, and the points don't matter. I mean, at the end of the game, I never thought you did better than me. I think were luckier. I still think the jumping around from wormhole to wormhole, and I also think this game, the more players is actually more fun because there's more wormholes to jump around, and there's you sit there and go, oh, watch this one. I'm going to use Chris's, and then Wendy's, and then mine, and then mine. That's neat.
See, the player count is what I want to talk about, actually, if we can hop before final thoughts. is that I remember you said that you really like this at more players because you could hop around more people's wormholes.
Yeah.
I found it so crowded at more players. I don't know if it expands out more at 4 players, but use the same size board for a 2-player and a 3-player game. And I liked both player counts the same amount, just for different reasons. So the 2-player count, I enjoyed it because I felt like I had more control and more space to place wormholes, so that I could place them where I actually wanted them, instead of being like, oh, I want to put one over here, but I can't put one over here because everybody else has mush there. And I want to take one that goes over here.
Yeah, but see, I think that's the wrong point of this game. The point of this game is not to only use your own wormholes. It's to actually use other people's wormholes.
It is, but if everybody else's wormholes are going that direction in this area, but I want mine connected here so I can go back right there because of the way that I'm working out.
Yeah, but that's the game.
I can't get there.
That's the game. You gotta learn to live with that.
No, but I feel like in a 2-player game we still had a little bit of that crowding, but I liked it.
I will never play this with 2, ever.
I liked it at 2, just as much as I liked it at 3. But I have to say that
I hated it with 2. I'll be honest. I really didn't like it.
Really?
No, you said like, oh, cool, that was really quick. Let's play it again. I was like, are you sure? I'd like to try it with more, and even just adding in one more person, I was like, oh, thank goodness, this really opened up the game.
That's funny. So I just didn't feel that way.
But see, I think that's the gameplay thing. You like to do your own thing in games.
I do.
I like to see what other people are doing and be like, oh, I can use your thing. And I know it gives you a point, but I feel like you earned that point. Like, you made a nice network there.
But I also used Chris's portals more than he used my portals in a 2-player game. I used his stuff a lot, so it's not that I don't want to interact with him and
but I think it's
have that.
I think it's cool. Like, I'll sit there and in one game of this I played, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go on my own way, and I built my whole thing out here. And at the end, I was like, that was kind of dumb. You know, yes, I should have built on my own way, but then I should have did a few hey guys, also you can come over here. And near the end of the game, people started coming that way, but it was too late.
Sure, the more you interact, the more points you get combined.
So what are you giving it?
I'm still giving it a 6 because I don't think this is amazing. I don't think it's wonderful. And what really dragged it down was the luck of the cards. Like, at the end of the day, I do all this cool wormholeness where I plan, you know, what do I think is going to be the ideal spot to put most of my wormholes so that I can get everywhere, so I can hop onto Chris's really easily or Tom's and hop around. Like, I have all that cool planning, and at the end of the day, like, oh, I kept drawing the same planets that I just happened to not be connected to, and it just doesn't quite
And
work.
I can't think of a solution.
Yeah, and that is just so disappointing because I agree that so much else that's going on was a lot of fun.
Interesting. Okay. I'm going to come in highest and give this one a 6.5.
Oh, you are breaking the bank there, Chris.
I like it so much is the problem.
I think I'm with you, though. I want to like it more.
Yeah.
The wormhole mechanism is great, and I would say there's some times where, I didn't rate this game a 7. It doesn't mean I don't recommend you playing it. No, I kind of recommend you do try it, because it's so cool to just see the board as it becomes more full, means that it's actually easier to get places, to you know, be able to zip across using someone else's thing, move one space to my own, and then
I didn't
fly
mention
right
this
back across.
in the rules, but you can move through other people's ships, and you can't move through asteroids, but you can move through other people's ships. So you're not blocking movement.
Yeah.
It's not crowded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes the opposite of more crowded as more stuff is out there. It's so unique and fun, but ultimately, it's the odd math, you know, of the cards, of the points that makes this a really, really fun game, but not like a great game.
The scoring is not interesting.
Yeah, and I think that you nailed it when you said at the end of the game we kind of look around and said, okay, who got most points? You know, and that's a shame because everything else kind of going around there is a lot of fun, but
getting like, let's say people use your wormholes 15 times, yay! But if I deliver 7 cards, I have 14 points, which is very, very possible. And I also probably had a few people use my wormholes. The cards made all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it just needed something to kind of refine it a little bit, but otherwise, I still think it's fun to play. I don't know if you should go out and you know, run out and purchase it.
Well, there you go, folks. That's Wormholes. Check it out. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Wendy Yi.
I'm Chris Yi.
See you on the other side.